It's time for speed. It's time for speed, bro. I haven't checked out this video in almost 2 weeks, and it's been too long. I just haven't had the time, you know. But I really want to check out this almost hour-long documentary about the Porsche GT3RS. Look, man, I don't know a whole. I'm not that much of a Porsche guy. I know I just said it correctly a second ago, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I just had to do that for the intro. I'm American. What's a kilometer? Anyway, look, man, I'm not that much of a Porsche guy. I want to be, though, for sure. I want to be. I just don't know all that much yet. So hopefully this here gives me enough knowledge to at least know enough about this car, because I know this car. I mean, we're about to find out, but I feel like they haven't had a GT3 RS that long. I feel like they had GT3s for a minute, but I feel like the RS is like a newer thing, like the 997, of course, the 992, which might be the most popular one. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But I don't like, as far as I know, there wasn't a 930 GT. There wasn't even a 930 GT3. Literally, they had a Turbo S. They had the Turbo S. Was that it? Look, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not that much of a Porsche guy. I really don't know.
This video is sponsored by Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
W-ad, bro.
The Porsche 911 GT.
You have no idea. Like I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna pause this video so much because you have no idea how long I've been waiting for a new speed video. Except you do, because I just checked on the last one, like right when it came out. So it's been a while. I get it though. These videos take a long time. The production quality is high. We're not going to get a new video every week. So I got to really cherish this moment. So if you, I mean, look, when you clicked on a reaction video, don't get mad at me for pausing, bro. That's literally my job. Anyway.
GT3RS is the most love it or hate it car currently available.
Yeah, that actually, I was going to say no, it's the Cybertruck, but I think more people hate it. The few that do love it kind of just love it to be different, I think. I don't know. I don't hate it as much as most people do, but I don't love it either. So, I don't know.
Ask a Porsche fanatic.
But a lot of people do. They really hate this car. And I think they hate it just because they can't afford one, which is understandable. I don't have $400,000 just sitting around waiting for me to buy a GT3RS. But, like, still, though, don't hate, man.
Pinnacle of automotive evolution. They'll say GT3RS.
Nothing like a Porsche.
It's an absolute masterpiece.
It's very, very good, annoyingly.
Ask some influencer on the TikTok, what's the most overrated, overhyped car? They'll say GT3RS.
Honestly, bro, I feel like, and no disrespect if this is your thing, because I want you to be happy doing whatever you like to do. But if you're one of those absolute thugs on TikTok over here yapping about cars, yapping about fashion, all the things that you hate, rappers, all the things that you hate just because they're popular, you're weird, bro. You need to get a life, please. Stop hating on what other people like just because you want to be different. Stop it.
What do you
Stop
think
it, bro. It's not valid.
Car GT3RS. I think that's probably it.
Used prices have inflated to double the already staggering $250,000 sticker with dealer.
Wait, it's only 200. Oh, I thought it was 400, but I guess I've been seeing used prices.
A new GT3RS can be $100K more than the ordinary GT3. Now that's a lot of money.
And they're already out of production too, which means like this is it. What's the fastest way to make $1 million? Because I'm not just gonna buy, like, I'm not just gonna get 400K and buy a Porsche. That's stupid. Be smarter with your money. I want to at least be able to buy two in case anything goes wrong, right? So, like, what's the fast way to make $1 million in like a couple of months, like really quick, without doing anything illegal or scammy? Or, I mean, if I gotta start OnlyFans, I'll do it. But like, y'all gotta buy it though. I'm not just gonna do OnlyFans and like y'all not gonna buy it. Like, anyway,
for just 2 letters,
that's Porsche.
$50,000 a letter. You can see why the GT3RS has become a supercar meme. Even calling it a supercar will start an internet fight over whether it technically counts as one.
I think it technically counts as a supercar. I don't see how it wouldn't, because if it's not a supercar, what is it, a sports car? That's not even a real type of classification, really. Hey, man, I don't know.
Now, I don't know the answer.
I think they are.
Neither does the GT3 RS, but the closest
I think it's a
to an
supercar.
answer is this.
Because it's, is it rear engine or mid engine? I think it's rear engine. However many horsepower, all 4 tires gripping the road. Actually, no, some of them are rear wheel drive. Some, I know not all of them are manual too. I don't know. Either way, if you put it in a drag race with a 720S or a Hurricane or an Audi R8, it's probably going to be just as fast, if not faster, which means it's a supercar. Sorry, it's not a hypercar, clearly. It's definitely not a hypercar. That's like a whole different, but like it's a supercar though.
GT3RS isn't designed to be a supercar. It isn't designed to be loved or hated.
True,
it isn't designed with even a moment's thought about how the internet is gonna feel about it. Maybe it's not even really designed at all, because the GT3RS is engineered, and it's engineered.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Why did I pause so much in a minute? This video is gonna be long. Get your snacks ready. I'm about to Anyway,
one sneaky purpose.
look at all those numbers.
Have the maximum possible, mind-blowing, spine-crushing speed.
Now I want to hop on BeamNG right now.
Allowed technically on public roads.
Technically.
And that's true for every Porsche RS for the past 70 years. When Porsche puts those 2 letters on a car, they stand for something. Literally, they stand for Rennsport, which loosely translates to racing.
Okay, so I was wrong a couple of minutes ago. There definitely was a 930. Well, I don't think it was a GT3 RS though. I think it was just an RS. There was definitely a 930 RS though, right? Or was it a GT3 RS? We'll find out. I don't know, man. I'm not a Porsche guy.
For only
Ask me about BMWs. I might know a couple more things. I don't know.
their most special vehicles, the values that make an RS car special.
That color is so
part
hot.
of
So is that.
Porsche's
Look at all. Oh
DNA.
my God, bro. Like there's just.
It's the pursuit of engineering
so pretty.
perfection without a thought to the accountants, the haters, or even their customers. Understand all of the great RS cars and tell the story of Rennsport. We've got to go back to the beginning.
Yes,
of
sir.
Porsche, because that
I have that in
is
Forza.
where their obsession with racing began. Welcome to Speed. This is everything you need to know about RS.
Okay. Oh my God, bro. Look at this. Yo, this intro is so fire, bro. Okay, ingredients. Ingredients. I just got it real quick, bro. Real quick, bro. Adobe Premiere Pro, 65%. Adobe After Effects, 18.5%. Why are we breaking down the ingredients of how long does James's dining room, 9.5%. A crappy old Sony. Which one though? There's a crappy old Sony that I really want that I can't find. 3.3%. Less than 1% of soundproofing. Made in USA. I mean, come on, bro. Come on, bro. For Porsche, however, a portion of the video is sponsored by Simply Safe. Okay, true. That's fair. Hey, man. Not a paid advertisement for Porsche. However, okay, I didn't read the whole thing. Sorry, man. Yo, James has to be cooking, bro.
This is a long one, but the RS story.
No, honestly, if y'all watching, bro, longer videos hit. I don't care about the Gen Alpha attention spans and all of the tic tac and the look, bro. Real one's gonna sit through an hour-long video, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I want to know everything. Don't leave anything out, bro.
Is fascinating, and
I need every nut and bolt in this video.
We tried to cut it down, but we just really didn't want to take anything out. So, without further ado, a very long video on Porsche RS.
I'm comfortable. Let's see it. Oh man, look at those body lines.
Kicked off with their very first car, the 356, but that wasn't designed to be a race car. The 356 was the brainchild of Ferdinand Ferry Porsche, son of Ferdinand Sr., the designer of the Volkswagen Beetle. A little Ferry was a car nut, okay? He owned Alfa Romeos, BMWs, Mercedeses, and developed race cars like the Cisitalia 360, powered by a supercharged
I've definitely seen that before.
flat 12 that revved to 10,500 RPM and was designed to compete in Formula One. Dude, a supercharged flat 12?
Flat 12 is like... Bro, this is unreal. In what years? Like, okay, if someone did this now, I'd be like, okay, that's cool for a YouTube video, right? But like, they just did it to do it, bro. That's so hard.
It was time to build the first car bearing the Porsche Nama. There's no way that it was going to be anything like his father's Beetle. So he sat down with a team of engineers to design a revolutionary sports car. And what they came up with was a 4-cylinder, air-cooled, rear-engine car that's not like, just is not a Beetle.
Oh man,
nothing like it.
Doesn't even kind of resemble it
at all.
This
a little
is
bit.
The car in question. No, wait, sorry. Hang on. It's easy to be confused. This is it.
With this car, the Porsche racing legacy began. Now, Ferry knew that a small car with enough power was way more fun to drive than a huge car with lots of power. And the same lightweight and nimble handling that made the 356 fun also made it a great little race car. In 1951, it was the first German car to compete at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it won its class.
Yeah.
The 356
I remember that. I knew that.
Popular.
I didn't remember it because I was there. I remember like learning about that already. Anyway, I'm not old. Don't worry about it.
Racers who aren't financially supported by a manufacturer. It was partially so popular because you could drive it on public roads. That means you could drive to the track, race, and if everything went according to plan, you could drive home after. Now, catering to the weekend crowd worked. Orders flooded in, and by the time the 356 finally stopped production in 1965 after a 17-year run,
that's a good run.
Porsche had sold 76,000 of them. Now, of course, in Rennsport, speed and technology never stop advancing. NSA. Never stop advancing. And Porsche launched a second car just 5 years after the introduction of the 356. That was the 550.
Okay, this doesn't look, actually does look familiar.
The 356 was a road car that you could race. The 550 was a race car that you could road. Porsche's first race-focused side project available to consumers. With a body made entirely of aluminum. The 550 weighed just 1,200 pounds.
It's lighter than a Mustang.
Is so light. That's like 2 average motorcycles.
Yeah.
And to keep that weight close to the center for even faster handling, they moved the engine up in front of the rear axle. The first prototype 550s reused the 356's air-cooled flat 4, but that wasn't enough power, baby. So Porsche set out to develop a new engine. They gave the job to mechanical engineer Ernst Fuhrmann, who would end up being a key figure in Porsche's history. During his long career, he would serve as Porsche's technical director, general manager, and eventually the chairman of the board. All right, now much of Porsche's story is the result of engineers who care about maximum performance, not maximum profit. A normal car company.
Man, back in the days, man, when people actually cared about things other than money. Nowadays, all these companies out here making crossover SUV EVs, they ain't racing no more. Hey, man, I miss the old days, man, when they really cared about their automobiles. And I don't know why I just went to that accent. I don't know, bro. I'm just excited to learn, bro.
That's not the Porsche way. Not back then, at least. And this way of thinking almost tanked the company a few times. They launched a car that was far less successful, all right? At least by the
true, though. Wait. 9? That's it? Like, for real? That's the number? 9? Wow. Yikes.
550 sold just 90 units.
How many did they make then? 100?
It was
10 they just didn't sell? Like, what?
Than the 356. And with the Fuhrmann engine, it got even closer to the Porsche ideal of performance perfection. The Fuhrmann-powered 550 was renamed the 550 RS, and the RS designation was born.
There it is.
With the Furman engine, the very first RS car in full race spec
So extravagant.
was capable of a mouthwatering, mind-boggling 135 horsepower.
Wow.
Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot now, and race car for the road has become a tired marketing slogan.
Yeah.
The 550?
For its time, man, that was insane.
A race car. It was classified.
Hey, that car had 135 horsepower. Like every other car had what? 40? Like that's a lot, man.
For Formula 2 racing, meaning it was a Formula
Wait, what about the logo?
50? Really?
I'm not missing a detail, bro.
A race car. It was classified for Formula 2 racing, meaning
This logo isn't period accurate, but you get the idea. True.
it was a Formula 2 car.
Which is insane.
And back then, Formula 1 and Formula 2 sometimes raced on the same track at the same time.
At the same time is crazy.
Got out of the way. Imagine you're in a GT3RS.
That's insane.
And they're like, hey, Max Verstappen is coming up behind you, get out of the way. That's insane. The 550 was literally a race car that you could walk into a Porsche dealer, pay for, and drive off of the lot, which is exactly what James Dean did. At 24 years old, actor James Dean was an icon. He was the coolest man in Hollywood, known for the brooding bad boys he played on screen.
Is he like the original pretty boy in Hollywood? Probably not. There were probably pretty boys before him, but maybe he was like the original, like super famous one though. Maybe. I don't know, man. What a guy.
Epitomized the sentiment of live fast and die young. On September 21st, 1955, he walked into Competition Motors in
Wow, we know the date and everything.
Right
Wow.
down there, and traded his Porsche 356 for the more powerful and faster 550 Spider. Dean immediately nicknamed his new car the Little Bastard. The mid-engine configuration with faster handling than the 356 required more precision from the driver, and apparently the Little Bastard was a bit of a to drive.
Yikes.
Dean discovered this for himself on his first days of ownership, reportedly having 2 accidents, including spinning off of Mulholland Drive, crashing into a bunch of...
I'll be paranoid every time. The problem is I'll be texting whatever Kanye said, but they need to put up some barricades, bro.
Garbage cans.
I was just trying to reference Life of Pablo.
Weren't enough reason to worry. 2 days after buying the 550, actor Alec Guinness, the guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi, he saw Dean with the car outside of a restaurant. Now, Obi-Wan claims that a strange feeling came over him.
Oh, no.
The Force, and he pleaded with James to not drive the car, saying that if he did, he'd be dead within a week.
Oh, no.
That prediction was not only creepy, it was also accurate.
Oh,
1 week later, while
no.
heading north from Los Angeles to compete in a race in Salinas, California, James Dean wrecked Little Bastard and died.
Oh, man. Oh, man. R.I.P., bro.
Sounds like
I didn't
James
know
Dean
that.
should have listened to him.
I've just heard his name
I got
before.
a new car,
That
and
sucks.
one of my friends was like, "You'll be dead within a week." I'd be like, "F you, dude! What the hell?" That was way before Star Wars too. So this dude had the Force. Like, what if he said that in his audition? Hey, so I'm reading this thing, talking a lot about like space magic. I'll have you know, I predicted James Dean's death. George Lucas is like, "What? Never mind. You want it to start? Okay." The Porsche 550
that's crazy.
successor, the 718, was yet another race car for the road. But honestly, way more race car than road car. This little mama,
It looks like a race car,
was
especially for
race
the time.
car AF, dude. It's so race car that it's actually a bunch of different race cars. The 718 RSK made its debut at the
RXK! Sorry, I had it. I just saw the opportunity. Anyway.
1957. Then, in 1960, they introduced the RS60. It had a brand new double wishbone rear suspension and a larger 160 horsepower engine, which powered it to an overall victory at the 12 Hours of Sebring. Next, they came out with the 718 WRS.
Hard.
The Weltrennsport, or World
It's a little wedge.
That one contained
So
a
light,
flat
so low,
8-cylinder engine
so
with
aerodynamic.
240 horsepower, but just displacing 2 liters. That's a lot of cylinders that are really little.
Not for real. That's crazy.
8th overall at Le Mans, but in its class, the 2-liter class, it finished first.
Word.
Porsches and Caymans.
Yo, homie he just switched the angle on us.
Called 718s now, and they're in reference to this car.
Okay. Interesting. I never knew that.
It was that good to Porsche. It's called homage, hun.
Yes, sir. Yo, the angles, I was not ready for that. That was hard.
And cars changed forever. Enter the 911.
Here we go. Here we go.
For 60 years, the 911 hasn't just kept the same name. It's the same rear engine layout, the same iconic shape. Constant engineering.
It's insane how they've managed to make a new version of the same car over and over and over again, and yet they all still look pretty much the same. It's like crazy.
To make it faster.
How do you innovate and not change bro?
No other model has done that while simultaneously being one of the most successful cars in motorsport.
Yeah, I was about to say the only other car that's kind of done that is the G-Wagon, and they don't race those, as far as I know. I don't think they might. I don't know.
Maybe
People race anything, bro.
But
They race Barbie
Corvette's got
Jeeps.
some pretty serious peaks and valleys. Every 911 generation has a good one. The RS badge went dormant for a bit, but 10 years after the 911 was born, it took the first major step in its legendary evolution when it received the Rennsport treatment.
Oh goodness. Talk about it.
Bro,
he's tiny. He's tiny. Shrunk. I need to shrunk the kids. Bro. There are 3 videos in. They are 3 videos in.
He's wanted one of these.
This is my favorite YouTube channel.
And I finally got one.
Hey, bro. Nice whip, bro.
One yet. Hit that subscribe button.
That's real.
This one is still very important.
That's hard.
So I want to keep it safe, and that is where today's sponsor, Simply Safe.
W-Ad, bro.
Simply Safe.
W-Ad, bro. Let us see it. Click the link and do the thing. Put in the code and all that.
A month of monitoring.
Do the things, bro.
There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The 1973 911 Carrera RS 2.7 was a homologation special built to compete in FIA Group 4. That meant it needed to have all the race car stuff that Porsche wanted its race car to have, but be road legal. And they had to make at least 500 of them to sell to consumers. Sometimes to race in a certain series, a company would have to sell a certain number of road-going versions of the race car that they wanted to race in that series.
Just like they did with the M3, and he pulls up the M3 right as about to make that point.
M3, Mercedes 190 Evo, Lancia Delta Integrale, and even Porsche's legendary 959.
Yes, sir.
Homologation specials. The
Insane.
RS 2.7 featured an enlarged version of the 911's signature Boxer 6, making 207 horsepower. A team of 15 of Porsche's best engineers were assigned to upgrade the suspension and brakes and put the 911 on a serious diet. They recreated the 911's body panels using thinner steel and replaced the windows with thinner glass. And we haven't even mentioned the aerodynamics. The 2.7 RS was the first production car ever with front and rear spoilers. Those aren't wings. They don't create downforce. Spoilers disrupt or spoil airflow that produces drag. A big source of that is the low pressure.
I did not know that was the first. That makes sense though.
Through the air. Now, to figure out the perfect height.
Physics knowledge. That's physics, right? Yeah, it's physics. Physics knowledge.
Now, this was long before the age of computational fluid dynamics, i.e. computers. So they increased the height a millimeter at a time by adding thin strips of sheet metal.
Crazy.
Once they saw the reversal point, when the pressure drag started to increase, they pulled off the last piece, and that was the height. Sick.
Crazy.
A fly on the wall of that wind tunnel.
I'm saying. That was literally me and BeamNG last night. Yo, they did an animation. Last night I built a drag car in BeamNG, and that was literally me lowering my tire pressure so I can get a faster time. And then I plateaued, so I just left it. But anyway.
Now, this sort of single-minded obsession that RS engineers have doesn't come from nowhere. In fact, it comes from somewhere. And that somewhere is a small town in Germany.
Word.
Weissach.
Okay. Shout out to Weissach, bro.
Home to Porsche's development center since 1971. Now, lots of automakers have similar facilities all over the world, but Weissach is different. A lot of other car companies have their main development center far away from their performance division. If they also run racing programs, that might happen at yet another location. That separation could be because there's no racetrack nearby, or because they don't want the performance nerds scaring the accountants, or the accountants scaring the performance. Now, in most car companies, cars are designed by one group of engineers at the home base, and then once that's done, they're sent over to another group of engineers at the performance and racing divisions to get all spiced up. At Porsche, every car is developed at Weissach. Because of their company-wide obsession with performance, road cars are developed side by side with race cars. So when it's
funny, I watched this video.
Weissach. Because of their company-wide obsession with performance,
what's it called? I forgot who did this video.
Developed side by side.
The Clay though. Oh, this is the Porsche video? Okay, you know what though? Maybe I watched a video that also used this footage.
With race cars.
It was about like why like car designers still use clay. So and why they use it in the first place. And there's a fly in here that's very annoying.
The race car for the road, it's not a big deal. They just go over there and look at that. And they walk over there and work on that. Now this is why the 2.7 RS wasn't a re-engineering project. It was about bringing out the greatness that was already there, about making the 911 reach its full potential. Not only is the 2.7 RS one of the most engineered cars ever, it's also one of the most iconic looking cars of all time. The distinctive Carrera lettering on the side, 29 available colors like bright yellow or blood orange.
I think that's one thing too that made me always, because like I said, I've never really been much of a Porsche guy, but I've always appreciated Porsches. Even when I didn't know a lot about cars, I just knew of cars. You know what I mean? I could name like every car when I was like 8. Anyway, I've always loved the amount of expression that Porsche had compared to a lot of you know, automakers, especially in recent years. You know, we've kind of been in like the bland silver, dark red, dark blue, black, white era for like a while now. Then every now and then, you know, they bring back the Dodge Challenger and it's red with stripes and it's like, oh my God, you know, I've always loved to like look back on Porsche and be like, wow, bro, they really was just cooking, bro. They was doing anything, bro, and it all looked fire.
Wheels, color match to the decals on the body. It just reeks of cool. And they actually sold quite a lot of them, almost 1,600. But 1,600 cars is nowhere near enough to satisfy current demand for possibly the most iconic 911 of all time.
Which is why they're
the 2.7 RS is
$1 billion.
Porsche that launched 1 million replicas, customized and resto-modded classic 911s from huge names like Singer, Theon, Strat, Emery Motorsport, not to mention garage-built passion projects from Bushwick creative executives, Cool Venice dads, Deus customers across the globe, and possibly most famous of all, this guy.
I bought my first Porsche and it straight away became an RS clone.
Crazy.
What put the RS on the map to the general public really was the 73 RS Carrera. An iconic legend was born on that day.
Whenever I make a video about a Porsche, I gotta talk to Magnus Walker.
Okay. Yo!
I used to joke.
We're outside of the... Yo, bro, we left the dining room. We left the dining room, bro. And that's why it was only like 9% or whatever it was.
RS stands for really special, which it kind of does, but you know, in the German speak, it's Rennsport. So I've never actually owned an RS, but I've driven them. So the 73 RS Carrera, you know, is really, really small. Like, they're all sort of around you, and it's the visual sight, the smell, the sound. You know, you're connected to that car. Back then, they were pretty stripped out. There were no driver aids. It sort of, for me, engaged with all the senses. I talk about it all the time.
I like it raw.
I mean, the greatest thing really about any model generation of Porsche is, for the most part, they're all drivable. It's usable performance is what it is for me. You can just get in and go. The RS version obviously is coming back to the race sport heritage, which the greatest thing for me is every time you get behind the wheel of a one, you kind of do feel a little bit like you're a race car driver.
After the 2.7 RS, the letters gone back into hibernation for about a decade.
Yes.
Until the 1984
I wish he was going to say 1987. Anyway.
911 SC RS.
It got a BBL. They gave it a BBL. Sorry, I tried to press the button. There it is. They gave it a BBL. They literally gave it a BBL, bro. And it looks so good. This is the scissor. You know what? Never mind. Let me not. Anyway. Wow.
This was another homologation special, this time designed for the World Rally Championships Group B. You ever heard of it? Porsche had intended to launch the 911.
WRC, the only thing that we should have done with the edit that's a little different, this music should have been straight up house music. I ain't gonna lie. There's something about house music and WRC that just... pause. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I just had to.
Design delays.
I don't know what's going on. I had a slice of pizza before this, and I think the cheese got to my brain, so I'm a little. I don't know.
For the 1984 season. Luckily, since Porsche had already been racing a 911 SC in 1983, the SCRS was considered an evolution. So they only had to use 20 to satisfy the homologation rule. Not the usual 20. In a matter of months, Porsche engineers designed and built those 20 cars using a 3-liter engine that made 280 horsepower in race trim. The naturally aspirated SCRS could actually out-accelerate the 911 Turbo, but that wasn't just because of the power. It was also down to the RS diet, which had made the SCRS 660 pounds lighter than the Turbo.
How do you give it a BBL and it has weight loss? Bro.
It also featured the Turbo's wider body, but made with thinner sheet metal once again. Thinner glass and fiberglass for the bumpers and spoilers. As you'd expect for a rally car, the SCRS had adjustable shocks and could be raised or lowered depending on stage conditions. Rally. But because this was a Porsche, that wasn't achieved by raising or lowering spring purchase. Instead, mechanics could move the control arms between different mounting points to raise or lower the car without changing the suspension geometry. And the car wore brakes from the 917 prototype race car that had won Le Mans. As with previous RS cars, the SCRS had a recipe for competition success, but at the last minute, after all the cars had been completed, Porsche pulled out of the WRC. They decided that fielding an entire season of rallies all over God's fat green earth would simply cost too much money.
Oh man, the suits came in and they're like, hey bro, y'all can't do all this, bro.
Company back then. But 5 of the cars sold to a company
they were babies.
called ProDrive, a British engineering company who specializes in building race cars for both factory teams and privateers. Years later, ProDrive would become famous for rally dominance working with Subaru's WRC team. But
a different boxer engine.
In 1984, they had just opened their doors. The SCRSs they prepared for the Rothmans Porsche rally team immediately proved that ProDrive and these Porsches were a force to be reckoned with. They campaigned those cars in the regional European and Middle Eastern Rally Championships and racked up 18 wins across the 1984 season. These are by far the most famous Porsche rally cars. These are the cars that have inspired infinite 911 Safari builds and eventually Porsche's own 911 Dakar and Rothman's livery color,
which is so hard,
as a factory option, except that it's called the Rough Roads package because, like every cool race car livery, Rothman's is cigarettes. Now, up until this point, RS cars hadn't really been available in the United States. I know, but when Porsche applied the RS treatment to the
they don't let us have any fun
911, the 964, they decided to change that.
Yes, sir.
And it did not go well.
Oh.
In Europe, the 964 Porsche Carrera RS contained all the usual tricks. A revised engine with 256 horsepower, lightweight flywheel, close ratio transmission, lower ride height, stiffer springs, adjustable stabilizers, a limited slip differential. Also available in Europe was a slightly more extreme club sport package.
Oh,
The interior, AC, sound ending, radio, carpet, and stereo. Added a roll cage and racing bucket seats and harnesses. That resulted in a 350-pound weight savings over the standard Carrera.
That's crazy.
Porsche felt that the Carrera RS was too aggressive to appeal to U.S. buyers.
I love that edit, by the way.
Hardcore 911 fans in the U.S.
It's a classic right there. Oh man, the amount of times I talk about classic Porsche ads, bro. Oh man.
Especially made RS America, adding back many of the comfort.
Their ads used to go so hard.
911 to the tune of 271 pounds more weight than the European Club Sport package, and just 77 pounds lighter than a standard 911. So basically, it was neither here nor there. It had less features than a regular 911, but wasn't nearly as race car as a European RS. To ordinary 911 buyers, the RS America's lack of features made it unappealing. But to a small number of American enthusiasts who would have loved a real Carrera RS, it just kind of felt half-assed.
Yikes. They scammed us.
About $10,000 less than a standard Carrera. The 700
that's kind of cool.
RS Americas produced took a while to sell, and many dealers ended up discounting the price even further. Now, in the US, the entire 964 generation was a low point for the 911. Now, in hindsight, this is kind of hard to believe.
It is. It's very hard to believe.
The classic 911 before it and the final air-cooled 993, which came after, started rising a long time ago. That made the 964 seem like a weird in-betweener value buy for a number of years. Sort of the forgotten generation of 911. But that couldn't last forever.
Of course
Seemingly, as soon as I got a job and had some money.
Nah, for real, but like if only he was born 30 years earlier.
Prices have skyrocketed on these. So, what explains their initial unpopularity? Well, a lot of it comes down to the original price. The 964 was a huge step forward in technology and refinement.
The active aero.
The classic 911 that came before it, which had its roots in the 1960s. The 964 was the first road-going 911 to offer optional all-wheel drive. It was also the first 911 with anti-lock brakes. Hell, it was even the first one with power steering. All these features made the car better, but it also made them more expensive. In 1990, just as the 964 was unveiled, the US entered a recession.
They're calling it the Monday Massacre, the worst drop in Wall Street history.
Little did they know.
Crazy, nobody even expected it to be down this much.
And the adverse exchange rate that resulted between the US and Germany meant that by 1992, a base 964 Carrera 2 cost nearly $70,000, close to $30,000 more than the previous gen. Less money and a huge price hike. Americans stopped buying 911s. That was a problem.
Understandable.
This is before volume cars like the Cayenne came along to stabilize Porsche through leaner years. They didn't have anything to fall back on during tough.
When did the Cayenne come out? 2000? No, it was like 97, right? It wasn't 2000. It wasn't that late.
We're all sports cars. And at any point,
Matter of fact, it's probably 95. Hold on, I gotta see. Because I'm actually not sure. Let's see. Oh, 2002. Oh. So it was kind of late. Yikes. Well, oops.
Was struggling, Porsche could have made compromises. They could have made more popular RS cars. They could have decided to make more units, make them more comfortable, make them cheaper, make them less race car. Because of the success of cars like the Carrera 2.7 RS, those letters.
Bro, this is crazy. I need that on a t-shirt. That's so hard. Or a bandana.
On race-inspired cars that weren't really race cars and rolled around in all the cash that they made.
Dude.
Any other company probably would have. And a ton of other companies have. I'm looking at you, BMW.
And yeah, I look, man, I think some M-Light cars are cool because back in the day they had the, like, you know, M Motorsport. Like, they're, you know, but I don't know. I think M240i is kind of crazy. M340i is kind of crazy. M540i is kind of crazy. M550, I mean. Look, man, I don't know. It is a little weird, but I don't hate them. I just think it's a little odd.
And all the cash.
It's a little odd.
Dude.
Any other company probably would have. And a ton of other companies have. Looking at you, BMW. BMW, I love you, but you do that. What does that even mean anymore? Porsche
it doesn't mean anything.
To make RS alive. They started down.
It literally went from like meaning something serious to just being a trim level. Like it's genuinely just a trim level now. That's it. Honestly, you want a 328? No. You want a 330? No. 335? Not gonna. What about a 340? You know what? What about an M340? And then it's like, okay, yeah, I'll get that. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
The RS America and learned a valuable lesson. You can't fake Rennsport.
No.
There is no RS Light. It's all or nothing. In 1995,
RS Light is crazy.
Returned to the 1995 993 generation Carrera RS. Porsche had found their way again.
We're so back.
993 Carrera RS was exactly what you'd expect and what Porsche needed to revitalize the RS program. 3.8 liters, making 296 horsepower.
Wow.
Thanks to major changes, including forged pistons,
pretty good
oil coolers, bigger intake
those wheels,
valves, and lightened rocker arms. Porsche engineers fiddled and perfected nearly every part of the car. They fitted bigger 4-piston brakes from the 911 Turbo, a gearbox with closer ratios and a shorter throw. They seam welded the body for stiffness, used an aluminum hood with one support strut instead of the usual two, and used thinner glass for the windows.
Crazy. How thin is this glass gonna get, man?
Was removed to save weight. They got rid of the rear seat and most of the soundproofing. All in all, the 993 RS was 240 pounds lighter than the base Carrera. But just in case that wasn't good enough, a Club Sport version appeared once again.
Oh, look at that color. Look at that blue, bro.
Racing buckets, harnesses, a gearbox with even tighter ratios. That only saved 20 pounds over the regular RS, but that was with the addition of a welded roll cage, extra strut braces, more aerodynamic front spoiler and side skirts, and then even larger rear wing.
Oh my goodness.
Someone came to me and said that I could have any car in the world, this would 100% be my choice.
I respect that.
The best version.
I respect that. It wouldn't be mine, but I respect that for sure.
Of one of the best cars ever made. I love it. The 993
I definitely respect that. That's fire.
Was a huge return to form compared to the RS America, but it also was not available in America.
Oh my God.
The guy was an accident. The guy was an accident.
What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. Get your goddamn.
I don't know what it is about foreign automakers and their hatred for American enthusiasts back in the days. But I feel like nowadays they don't be hating on us like that, bro. They don't. But they used to hate us, man. Clearly.
After the 964, Porsche was basically like, okay, we gave you guys a chance and you blew it. It's low-key our fault, but you're basically dumb and you suck. But all that changed when the next RS appeared.
Here we go.
A new era was beginning.
Let's talk about it.
Just say it got off to a bit of a
Oh no.
rocky start.
Oh no.
For over 30 years, every 911 was rear engine with an air-cooled
GGs.
flat six.
GG's.
The 911 story is one of engineers
GGs.
constantly improving upon that design with each subsequent revision and generation, but never changing that formula. The 996
GG's.
changed that formula the f up. They moved from air-cooled to liquid-cooled.
Oh,
the
no.
996 kept the rear engine and flat six, so what was the big deal about adding coolant? How could people hate that? Every car has coolant. Well, they kind of had a point a little bit. Liquid cooling adds weight, complexity, and changes the way that the engine sounds. I also think that Porsche fans liked the fact that it was one of the only air-cooled cars left. It made it unique. It made it special. But Porsche
It meant something. Once again.
don't make any decisions arbitrarily. Like the name suggests, an air-cooled engine uses ambient air passing over the surface to keep it cool. Lots of motorcycles use air cooling because the engine is sitting out in the open. In a car, it's buried deep inside the engine bays, so vents and fans are often required to create airflow. But those can only do so much. And if the engine is in the back, like the 911, the entire car is literally getting in the way. One of the biggest drawbacks of air cooling is the power limitation. Now, if you want to,
you can't do too much
power
with air cooling.
You gotta have more powerful combustion in the cylinders. Now that produces more heat, and that heat's gotta go somewhere or it will damage the engine. Using liquid coolant that runs through the engine, then transfers that heat to a radiator located somewhere with better airflow is just simply the best way to do
smarter.
that. The basic 911 formula had reached its practical limit on power. Air cooling couldn't keep up with the increased performance that Porsche engineers knew was possible.
It makes sense. I get why they didn't like it, but it makes sense.
The 911 deserved. Water cooling also ensured that the 911 would actually have a future because air-cooled engines have more emissions, and Porsche was struggling to keep up with increasing emission standards. So, liquid cool, not so bad. Unfortunately, this wasn't the only problem that people had with the 996. The looks.
Yeah, I was about to say when that clip again, not the biggest Porsche guy, right? I want to be though. I don't know if I could get behind a 996 like that though. Only because it looks weird. And I think it's just the time. Like, it just looks like it came out when it came out. A lot of other Porsches, yeah, you can tell they're older, but, you know, if you don't know, you'd probably guess every single one came out in a 10-year period. Excuse me, because they look a certain way. They have a, you know, whereas this looks like like it was clearly made between the mid-90s and mid-2000s, and that's not a good look.
Especially the headlights.
Yeah.
There were build quality issues and common mechanical issues, like the dreaded IMS bearing. Some people started to come around with the release of the turbo models, the return of the Targa 911, revised engines, and a facelift in 2002 called the 996.2. That was also the basis for the first 911 GT3 RS.
Here we go. See, I knew the GT3 wasn't around that long.
Sport designation exploded into the performance powerhouse it still represents today.
I knew it. I knew they weren't around that long, bro.
The 911 GT3 without the RS on
That's not even 30 years.
had existed since 1999 as a homologation special. As you'd expect, it was improved over the ordinary 911 in nearly every way. Engineer Andres Andy Pruninger have been part of that development. And in
Andy.
2001, Andy was promoted to head of Porsche's GT division, the people making decisions and developing the homologation cars. Now, this is by far the second biggest 911 news of 2001.
I'm not gonna laugh. But no, I'm not gonna laugh.
Oh God, dude, really?
Really, bro? Are you serious right now, bro?
Engineering for maximum performance. So when the 996.2
and this video dropped in September, yo.
GT3 was built again to satisfy racing homologation.
Anyway,
it was yet another step forward, but somehow there was still room for improvement.
Let's talk about it.
For sport of the Ren variety. In 2000.
Oh my goodness, bro! Look at that gradient. Look at that gradient on the front bumper. Bro.
The 996 GT3 RS was born, and the list of changes over the normal GT3 are extensive. Different heads and valves bump power to 381 horsepower. Progressive springs replaced the GT3's linear ones. Stiffer dampers were fitted, and the car got carbon ceramic brakes. Those were incredibly rare 20 years ago.
I was about to say carbon ceramics in 2000 anything? Well, I mean, we're in 2000. Anyway, you know what I mean, though, bro. Like,
that's nearly $20,000 to replace.
Goodness.
But they had better cooling and were half the weight of steel rotors. So we gotta put them on.
Yep.
The RS diet was back in other ways too, with polycarbonate windows and carbon fiber hood and rear wing. The 996 was hugely nerdy. Engineers messed with the tiniest details.
I still don't love how it looks, but
maximum performance.
I respect it.
The wheel carriers were custom made for better dynamic camber. The shock towers could be removed and rotated 120 degrees from the original position to get the same alignment range as the Cup car.
Bro,
the race cars.
That's crazy.
Air ducts were added to the engine bay to force more air into the engine at speed, and at 190 miles per hour, that meant 15 extra horsepower.
90 miles an hour.
Focused engineering, the nerdy obsessiveness of paying attention to every single detail paid off, and the GT3 RS
W nerds, bro.
clocked a Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes 43 seconds.
That's what the fastest at that time, right?
Seconds faster than the turbocharged top of the line 996, another homologation special, the GT2. The 996 generation is still maligned today as the least cool 911. But people are coming around to this generation as
I'm a 997 guy, and maybe that's just because that was what was out when I was a kid. That was the Porsche when I was, you know what I mean? So maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but they're great.
Car now.
And I think they learned from the 996.
The GT3 RS was a sensation immediately. How could cars so similar elicit polar opposite responses?
Yep.
The regular 996 was trying to be the next great 911, and honestly, they're pretty great to drive, but by changing the 911 formula and its unlovable face, the 996 had an uphill battle. Owning one made you a nerd. With the GT3 RS, that flipped. It wasn't trying to be anything other than the greatest possible 911 for that current generation. So it didn't matter that this was the 996. The 996 GT3 RS did more than just show what maximum engineering could do. It showed that Rennsport was back. Visual cues that had made the 2.7 RS special returned with it, like lightweight wheels in blue or red to match the decals on the side. And best of all, we got it here.
No way. No way. No way. No weighing, bro. They finally lay, bro. Give in.
So how do you follow up on greatness? How could Andy avoid the second album slump? Well, starting with a winner definitely helps. In stark contrast to the poor reception of the 996, the 997.
Yes, sir. See, this is Wow, look at it, man.
Sales began in 2005.
Look at it.
GT3 followed in 2006, and for once, we didn't have to wait long for the next RS, which arrived in 2007. And when I say we, I mean Americans. This time, Porsche took the chance that we were ready
Somebody
to
say
get
oil.
on board the RS train, which is good because this one was a huge step forward. The car was lighter than the normal GT3, more powerful, wider, and had an even bigger rear wing, producing even more downforce at speed with 3 E's.
See what he
In its
did there.
final form, the 997 GT3RS 4.0 had the largest engine ever offered in a road legal 911, making 493 horsepower.
Goodness.
Think about that. A 4-liter, 6-cylinder with no turbos, making almost 500 horsepower.
Like
For the
how?
GT3RS, that was the kind of thing that you only found in race cars.
Yeah,
Once
man.
again, the GT3RS was faster around the Nürburgring than its turbocharged big brother, the GT2. But that
Okay, what was the first car to get sub 8? Hold on. Let's see. Are you kidding me? We don't know. Okay, hold on. Reddit. Wait a minute. No, this is iRacing. You gotta be kidding me, bro. All right. A list of lap times. This is gonna take a while. I might not actually. Let me just go by longest. Okay, 11 minutes. In 2007. Are you kidding me? A lot of 8-minute times. That's for sure. Okay, hold on. Okay. Skyline GTR R33. Should have known, bro.
No longer
should have known. That makes sense.
With the 997 generation, the GT2 got RSified. The GT2 RS.
That I remember from. I want to say it was Need for Speed Most Wanted. 2012 though. They had the GT2 997. They didn't have a GT3 though. I think the GT3 though was in Gran Turismo 5. Maybe. I'm not sure. I really don't know.
Wasn't produced because of sibling rivalry. It was invented because Nissan showed up and broke the Nürburgring time record. The development of the...
Are you kidding me? Bro, I could have just, you know what? I'm gonna just let the video play, bro. I'm gonna just let the video. I did not need to look that up.
GT2 RS internally.
Well, I still would have wanted to know what car, so I guess.
Project 727, named for the Nürburgring lap time achieved by the mighty R35 GTO.
Oh no, it's the R35's time. Dang, so they really, hey, Nissan, don't play around with Nissan, bro.
To ensure success, Porsche engineers gave the GT2 RS 612 horsepower, shed 154 pounds over the regular GT2, and achieved the top speed of 205 miles an hour.
Yeah.
This GTR is a great car, but it simply couldn't stand against Porsche's engineering might. In the end, the GT2 RS clocked a 718, beating the Nissan by 9 seconds. But here's the thing about the GT2 RS. It's more powerful, more turbocharged, and more expensive than the GT3 RS.
Why?
But it's not better. It's different. In the words of one Porsche employee, the GT2 RS is the hand of God Porsche. It's designed primarily for maximum, even gratuitous amounts of power. The GT2 RS is a machete. The GT3 RS is a scalpel. The GT3 RS is the one that the engineers really invest their time, energy, and innovation into. And with the 991 generation, that becomes very apparent. If the 997 was RS's surprising sophomore album, the 991 GT3 RS is the moment they go from indie darling to full-blown stadium rock god.
Nice.
Right? It's their...
Another Drake. You know what, man? Cool, bro. We'll take it, bro.
Chapel
views just hit 10 billion Anyway, bro. Anyway, I just like both of those artists. Like, I'm sick of the fighting, bro. I'm sick of it, man. They're both great artists. Anyway,
always been on board with RS cars. These were nerdy, the product of a singular obsession with engineering.
That's what Chapo Roan mentioned. Hold on, you gotta drop the bomb for that, bro. Yes, sir.
Them incredibly expensive and incredibly uncomfortable and difficult to drive, at least compared to a regular 911. But it also made them incredibly cool. Now, every historically cool thing from blue jeans to mid-century modern design is the way it is to serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, blue jeans were designed to be tough, not cool, to meet the needs of cowboys and gold miners. Every detail serves that purpose. The rivets add strength at the corners to prevent fraying. The triple stitching prevents tears. Even the color was chosen for toughness. Indigo dye only partially penetrates the denim. As the outer layer fades from washing and wear, some of the dark pigment that has seeped further into the fibers remains. Mid-century modern design gave us some of the most distinctive and coolest buildings, homes, furniture, even appliances, but these were primarily designed for functionality and simplicity, stripping away any unnecessary ornamentation and having the ability to mass produce them. Materials like plastic and plywood were chosen for their low cost, making products accessible to all. And because those materials permitted new shapes and forms. And in buildings, spaces were designed to be uncluttered to aim the mind by freeing it from distraction. Of course, lots of things are designed with function first, but the ones that rise up and have a legacy.
Next architecture video, bro. I'm trying to
that purpose better than
see some
else. That's because somebody really thought about what they were creating and why. These creators remain true to that central mission and are authentic in their purpose. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what the market thinks. They know what they're doing is right, necessary even, to make something great. They aren't designing something to be popular. They're designing it to be the best. Now, for a machine like a car, with thousands of pieces all moving together, the only way to achieve that is to be absolutely obsessed with its design, its engineering. Nobody ever made a great car by accident. That obsession.
True, yo. Nobody ever made a great car by accident. Talk about it, bro. Talk about it, bro. Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about.
RS means on a 911 GT3. It's the highest performing 911 that is possible at the time. The letters RS are reserved for the best of the 911s, which is a pretty great car in any form, and that means that in its final form, it's a world beater.
Literally. Debbie straight pipes, man.
Yes, Porsche! Sometimes Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, or the other guys are faster, but the sum of an RS Porsche's parts gives it a lasting power that other race cars for the road simply can't touch. It's where engineering becomes art. It turns out that a consequence of that obsession with function is a thing that's also incredibly aesthetically pleasing. We can see that it's a triumph, and we love that. Humans love to win. We're proud of it. Jeans look great, so do mid-century modern homes. And no car looks nearly as cool as a 911 parked in front of a mid-century modern house.
I would argue a Carrera GT. I don't know. I think you can make that argument. I think you could. I think you can make that argument, but it's not about the Carrera GT, it's about the 911. So I get it.
While wearing jeans. The RS models are built for maximum performance and take extreme measures to get there. That's a process of building upon what's already there. It's an engineering transition that happens for every RS 911. That starts with a base Carrera 2, which is built upon to make a Carrera 2S and improved more for a GTS, then a lot more for a GT3, before finally landing at GT3 RS. When that happened for the 991.
Also, I just remembered that the 991 was in Need for Speed Most Wanted in 2012, not the 997. Then I think the 997 was also in Gran Turismo 5. I think they had both. I think they had the 992 and the GT2 and the GT3. I think.
Generation.
I can't remember.
Almost nothing was left untouched. There wasn't some list of specific features that were engineered to racy perfection. It was the entire thing. The front fenders had louvers added for better aerodynamics. The rear fenders had turbo-like cutouts because that's where the engine's intake is now, instead of on the rear engine cover below the wing. That wing generated up to 900 pounds of downforce. And speaking of engine, it was completely different from the one in the GT3 with a 9,000 RPM redline and 513 horsepower. That got the GT3 around the Nürburgring in 7 minutes. 1 second quicker than the 918 hypercar. The inside was as you'd expect. Roll cage, racing harnesses, those little fabric handles that everyone made fun of, and then every other car company decided to add to their own racing models. Porsche didn't do that to flex its race car credentials. They did it because it is a race car and door handles are too f***ing heavy. Porsche's commitment to only include genuine race car stuff did create a problem, however. The 991 GT3RS was the first where a normal 3-pedal manual was not available. A lot of purists were upset by that.
Sorry. I was trying to pause the video. Sorry about it. Look, man. Y'all know me, y'all know I don't prefer manual like most people do. I just don't, man. I can drive it though. I haven't in real life, but I play BeamNG all the time, and I've gotten really good at rev matching in the last like 2 months. I'm like genuinely insane. I rev match in the first all the time just because I can. You don't have to, but I can, so I do it, right? But in general, I'm a DCT guy, bro. I want to, you know what I mean? Ride the D. Yeah, I'm going to ride the D and I'm going to be proud of it, right? But if I want to throw it in manual and play with my little flappy paddles, I'm going to do that too. And if I want to throw it in sport, a little stiffer suspension, a little, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to do that too. I like variety, bro. That's just me though. You know what I mean? And I respect it. But the problem is a lot of people that prefer manual don't respect every other type of trend. You know what I mean? So that's why y'all could go kick rocks, dork. Sorry, I had to. Anyway, man, I get it though. I definitely do understand the outrage, especially for a race car.
Not have a stick shift.
I get it.
Well, this is Rennsport.
Yes.
It's not how Porsche people like.
It's not.
About racing, baby.
And something a lot of people don't realize is automatic is faster. It's simply faster, bro. Sure, rolling through gears is more fun. You might, you know what I mean? You can have a little bit more control over the experience. I get it. I understand. There's literally nothing you can say that can, like, you know, that I haven't heard before that can make me, you know, appreciate manual more. It's simply, it all comes down to the fact that automatic is just faster, bro. It's literally just faster. That's it.
It's about what actually performs, not what feels fast.
Exactly, bro.
GT3 race cars ditched the stick shift after the 996 generation, so the GT3RS had to as well. The only reason the 997 GT3RS had a 3-pedal manual is because, according to Andy, Porsche's PDK dual clutch sequential gearbox wasn't advanced enough yet. And by the time the 991 rolled around, it was. So that meant there was no real choice. The RS has to be the best, and fast is always the best. Which brings us to today, everyone. The current generation 992 GT3 RS.
Look, man, again, 997 for me overall. But honestly, that dual clutch, I might even put the 991 over it now. In terms of looks, though, I think 997 is peak. Like modern. Peak is like, I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. That's debatable. But then I like the 992. I love the light bar. But to me, honestly, the 992 just looks like a 991, but like with a light bar. Like slightly a little bit different. Other than that, though, they're pretty much the same looking cars, honestly.
The 992 GT3RS carried on using...
Because remember when it got a BBL a while ago, that somehow became genetic. That's not how BBLs work though. So if you get a BBL, your son is not gonna have a massive badonkadonk when he turned 30. It's just not gonna happen. But in the case of Porsche, it got a BBL and then the son turned 30 and it's just childbearing hips, just absolutely fertile. You know what I mean?
Porsche's PDK as the only option, and like the 991,
look at it from the top.
Every part
it's so curvaceous.
911s that it's based on. One of the biggest changes over the previous RS is aerodynamics. RS engineers went as far as changing the suspension wishbones and steering tie rods from cylindrical to teardrop shaped to reduce drag and turbulence in the wheel wells. Its rear wing now generates up to 1,900 pounds of downforce. It has DRS.
It has DRS.
The drag reduction system used by Formula One cars.
Yep.
It can be left in automatic, where it will open or close based on vehicle data, or you can open it manually by pushing a button. A DRS button.
DRS button in a car is so crazy. So crazy.
With the 992 GT3RS. The shocks can be adjusted between 8 settings, independently for compression and rebound, and
insane. I watched Tedward drive one of these. Is this
from front and rear?
Was that the Tedward video? Yo, bro. I swear. Hey, man.
In total, the
hey, man, we too locked in, bro.
Has 6,000.
We too, yo, it's bouncing like a GLS.
And 61 possible configurations, because 6,560 ain't enough, Jack. There's an adjustable differential with a steering wheel dial to set the level between full open and full
this isn't the Tedward video.
It can be adjusted independently for acceleration and coasting. The traction control has 8 settings. Stability control has 3. So why is it so adjustable? With the 992, the RS engineers pulled their greatest trick yet. They fixed the one thing they could never seem to improve. You. The 992 has so much adjustability that the driver
that's what I value myself
to figure out how to make the best 911 possible for them. That's not laziness. It's a gift from one set of nerds to another. The GT3RS is made by engineers who are obsessed with performance and getting the most from their cars. The 992 GT3RS is made for the drivers who are equally obsessed. It turns out that the engineers could never create perfect performance. They don't know where or how their car is gonna be used. And there were too many possibilities. They're kind of stuck creating a solution that's somewhere in the middle, compromised. But the solution to that compromise turns out to be giving you the tools to solve that problem yourself. Look
at that, man.
Is the RS is a car that many car enthusiasts aren't ready to understand. You have to reach a level of nerdiness that's close to those engineers.
A lot of people are not real nerds like this, bro.
The coffee crowd, the Instagrammers flexing, the canyon carvers who've never been to a racetrack call it overrated. But the Chads and Chad adjacent aren't ready for it. They can't possibly understand it, which takes us
just like people can't seem to understand Grippy by Cash Cobain and J. Cole. That song is hard. That song is hard, and I'm standing on it, but y'all just don't get it yet, bro. Y'all don't understand sexy drill as a genre. You don't, bro. You claim to like Ice Spice, but you only follow her because she be shaking that yams, bro. She be shaking the yams. That's the only reason you don't understand sexy drill, bro. You don't get it. You don't, and that's why you hate Grippy. But Grippy is hard.
All the way back.
It is.
The first RS car, the 550. By all accounts, what those engineers came up with was tough to drive. You had to figure it out. The 992 GT3RS
it's a learning experience.
Carries on that tradition. The engineers have equipped it with the best tools possible, but ultimately, it's up to you to make it perform. And just like the 550, you can get it wrong. And at a time when cars are increasingly doing everything for us, one that leaves the thinking up to you is refreshing. I'm
saying, bro.
Nerdiness. And that.
Me personally, I don't want to self-drive a car. I feel like the most I would do is like an S-Class, where like it'll lane change for you and then like kind of just make sure you're still there. But like, I don't want a car to just like drive me anywhere. Like, I just rather do it myself. I don't know. It's kind of boring to me, especially like certain types of cars. Like, I don't want a self-driving Tesla, bro. If I'm getting a Tesla, I want a Tesla Roadster, and I'm trying to, because it's not gonna, it's gonna, but you ain't really gonna hear it, because that's just, I'm trying to manufacture the sound of the tires on the road because they're quiet. But you know what I mean, though, bro. Like,
is cool.
It's very cool, and it looks great. Like, that's hot.
I told you guys.
You want to know how to get in my hurt? Pull up in a GT3RS. I might go on a date with you. I just might. I no promises though. But
it's gonna be a long one.
I'm just saying.
Thanks for sticking around to the end. Jesse and I want to thank you for all the support.
Banger video, bro.
It's scary doing a new thing, but you guys,
y'all got it, bro.
Made it.
Y'all know what you're doing, bro.
Exciting. And we're just really stoked
great.
to get out on our own and do this. So thank you. Thanks again to our sponsor, Simply Safe. If you care about your family or your stuff, which you should, click the link below to check them out. Just go to the website, look at it. I'm sure you noticed the 3D renders in this video.
Yes.
Those are custom by our friend Max. He absolutely killed it. He also has a body kit company, so he makes stuff IRL.
Ooh.
Check them out. Just had a new kit come out for an E46. It's sweet.
It's hard.
That's what we do here at Speed. Amazing writing.
That fitment.
Great research.
Truly amazing writing.
Editing. Custom.
Yes.
3D renders.
All
humor,
of the works.
8 out of 10. Other performance.
I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. I will say though, we need to get a little bit edgier at times and no more Drake jokes in 2025. That's all I'm gonna say. You have until December, which means 3 more videos, 4 more max, maybe. I don't see them doing more than 4 more videos before 2025. So yeah, that's all. And then once y'all do that, I might even give y'all a 9. I ain't gonna lie, but it's up there. It's up there for sure.
6 to 7.
I was laughing. Performance. I give the performance an 8 also. I give that an 8, maybe 8.5, especially with that camera angle. I wasn't ready for the camera angle to change. So y'all got me with that. It's probably an 8.5 or a 9 in this video specifically.
Together, you got a pretty good.
But that's a decent score though.
That's why you got to click on Simply Safe.
That's real, man. do the thing.
Subscribe. The subscriber
Sub
and
up.
view number
Sub
is
up.
directly tied to how I feel about myself
Yes.
at this point in this venture. So
Yes.
I need that hit. That
How many subs to tell you you're sexy?
number hit.
Pause.
So please subscribe.
I mean, like in a respectful way, like, you know what I mean? Like, you should like Claro sexy to someone, like you should feel sexy to you as a man. But like, I'm not saying that I think you're, because like you in a relationship. Anyway, great video. Absolutely, we're dropping the bomb, bro. And we're clapping with our hands. We're clapping with our hands. You can see them. No funny business. Hey, bro. This right here is amazing. This channel is great. I can't wait to see what else they do, bro. Cause like, okay, we had the Up to Speed on Donut, and then we talked about Carhartt. I don't know. I learned so much about Carhartt. Now the Porsche GT3RS. I said it correctly again, just so y'all, you know what I'm saying? A little sandwich. What are we talking about next? I mean, today is Virgil Abloh's birthday. RIP to him. I know James said he wanted to do a video on Virgil before, so maybe the Virgil video is soon. It could have dropped today while I was watching this. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Okay, no. I just had to see, though. I just had to see. I didn't expect it or anything. I didn't, because that would be crazy. There are only 2 guys, man. But this is hard. The renders were crazy. I think my favorite thing about the channel too is I don't know what they're gonna do next. I don't know. They're not predictable. They could drop a video on like, well, no, because if they did fashion next, that would be kind of predictable. Architect, drop a video on like some architect that I've never heard of before, because I'm not that much into architecture. I just like brutalism. Look, man, I love the fact that people love the mid-century modern, the Victorian, the older styles that remind them of their grandparents for some reason, so they love it so much. I love my grandparents too, but I also love things that look cold and dark. I love brutalism. I love sharp angles. I love rocks. You know what I mean? I love things that look like the Batcave. And that's just me. Because a lot of people hate it. They think, you know, you have one color, it's boring and it's sad and it's beige and it's there's no personality. There's no, you know, I respect it. I really do. And I understand it. Kind of, not really, but but I'm a brutalism guy. So maybe we could talk about some architecture. I mean, there's other types that I like, but they don't stick because I'm a brutalism guy. So, you know, maybe we could see some, like a cool architect or some, I don't know, man. I just want to get up to speed on everything, bro. Just teach me. I like to learn about interesting, cool things and people that are inspiring. You know what I mean? This was an inspiring video. When YouTube hits me with the ad later, when I'm scrolling on YouTube before I hit a YouTube short with a wrestling interview, because I'm obsessed with wrestling as of this year. I got into it last year. I'm kind of just yapping now, but I'm not live, so I really don't care. I got into it last year. Shout out to the homie Limi, bro. He put me on to a couple of storylines, and then I started tapping in with the live stuff early last year, and now I am a certified wrestling fan. I love wrestling, and so I watched a lot of interviews. Shout out to CVV. A lot of Chris Van Vliet interviews on YouTube Shorts. And I be watching the full videos too. But every now and then you see a little short and you just want to watch it in that moment because you're brushing your teeth. And you don't really feel like watching the whole video while you're brushing your teeth because like you're brushing your teeth. So you just watch a short real quick. And then you get back to, you feel me? That's kind of the type of vibe I be on. But anyway, all that to say, when YouTube hits me with the ad for how did I feel about this video, I'm going to say inspiring. I'm going to say life-changing. I'm going to say heartwarming. I'm going to say entertaining. I'm going to say all the things that are on the thing. You know, if you're an avid YouTube watcher, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know that this video is all of those things. It is. It's just not sad. That's the only thing. Well, I mean, kind of, because James Dean died. So it's a little sad, too. It really did everything, bro. I'm not going to lie. Yo, I'm kind of glazing right now, so I'm going to end the video. Sorry. I apologize for glazing. I had to wipe my mouth. Anyway.